When you started to invite the Ponte to talk to you about certain topics, where did you start? What kind of topics did you ask them about initially? What were you interested in learning from them?
Well, the first conversation was a private Twitter conversation that I had with Teeny.
Okay.
And it got on the conversation of music, and then she said to me, "Do you realize that music is communicated at a telepathic level?" And I had no idea, and I was just really shocked. And she explained about that it's the emotional communication of music at multiple different levels, multi-layered levels of that can be recorded on the digital recording, with memories, with backstories, with images as well. It can get that deep with the music, as well as, of course, the communication emotionally. And she basically insinuated that I was already doing that with my music.
The music that you were playing, or the music that you were writing?
The music that I had already written.
Okay.
So my first album that I had recorded.
Okay.
And that I was already doing that, but wasn't conscious of it.
What was the name of that first album?
Pyramids on Mars.
Okay, so that was the very first one that came out. Mm-hmm. And what Tini said, if I can understand you correctly, is that you were proactively or subconsciously, one of the two, implanting telepathic imagery into the music that you were writing, so that, or even feelings into the music that you were writing, so that when people listened to it, they received those images or those feelings.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, but Tini said you proactively can do that and purposefully implant that stuff.
That's correct.
And that was the piece that was new to you.
That was a piece that was new.
So then what happened?
So then I asked her if you can help me to develop this ability, and she said yes. And so I became more proactive in regards to being more conscious of my music writing process, of what I was already doing, but then becoming more aware of it and communicating everything at the highest emotional level of everything that I've done, even though I was already doing that. And it started to develop, things progressed more over the different albums, into different areas of consciousness. So then my second album, Echo Cosmic, some of the music was being written in dreams. Not even actually, it wasn't conscious effort. It came to me in a dream.
Okay.
Came to me in a dream.
So you woke up knowing that you had been writing music in the dreams and recalling what you were writing, so that you could go to your guitar. And by the way, one of the best guitarists I know is this guy. When you play music, it's not only fun to listen to, it's fun to watch. But the writing that you were doing became deeper with that second album.
Yes, it did.
And then it kept getting deeper, and your skill set started broadening. But you started proactively putting those telepathic messages into the guitar music that you were writing at the time. That
was progressing at deeper levels as my albums were progressing. So when some of the songs from my second album came to me in dreams, where I literally was listening to, say, Joe Satriani in a studio in my dream, showing a new song that he wrote, and I realized that, wait a second, this song is awesome. Wait, he never wrote that. And then I wake up and I realized that this song doesn't exist. I went downstairs and I recorded the whole song, and that became Dream Division, the first song. Now the thing is, this is not a isolated incident. UFO researcher Grant Cameron had been already studying this phenomenon with musicians. The Beatles were familiar with it. Multiple musicians have been songs have come in their dreams and they don't know where the songs came from. John Lennon, David Bowie, multiple musicians were having this experience. So I was not the only one. Like, I'm just part of, the musicians who were open to that part of consciousness. So this process is it was a second stage of my development of telepathic communication at the music level.
Wow.
And what Grant Cameron found was that this phenomenon seemed to be isolated to musicians, because he tried to find out if golfers or other sports people were experiencing this kind of phenomenon. Not happening. They weren't having any ET contact either. It's musicians who the Star Nations were reaching out to because of their creative process, getting into the alpha state.
Okay. I'm going to have to contact Grant, because as an artist, I find that when I draw the Ponti and move into that same receptive alpha theta state, trying to understand and get things correct, to make sure I get the details correct, that a dialogue oftentimes goes on back and forth behind the scenes as I'm drawing, that has nothing to do necessarily with the picture, but might be an off topic that just happens to come up in conversation. But also, every time I draw a portrait of one of the Ponti or another Star Nation, I ask them what they want the pose to be, what they want the feel to be, so that I'm portraying them the way they wish to be portrayed, for whatever reason they're choosing. And so when I talk to them telepathically and keep checking back to make sure I'm getting things the way they want, that same process, that same receptive process goes on, and more conversation and more information comes than what you see in just the picture. So what I'm hearing is that when that process goes on for musicians,
I should correct, it's not just musicians, it's also any kind of artist.
Yes.
It could be writing a book.
Yeah.
It could be a screenwriter.
Okay, all right. And that makes more sense now. Any creative endeavor where you lose time.
Yes.
Where you go into a timeless state where
to the edge of the black.
Okay.